story of the Menendez brothers, a legacy of pain and tragedy. If you hadn't heard about the Menendez brothers before this year, you've likely heard of them now. New documentaries, like Ryan Murphy's chilling second installment of Monsters on Netflix, have reintroduced a true crime saga that has lingered in the public consciousness for over 3 decades. The buzz has intensified, bringing renewed attention to Lyle and Eric Menendez, the brothers now serving life sentences for the 1989 murders of their parents in their Beverly Hills mansion, a case that shocked the world. The brutal killings of Jose and Mary Louise "Kitty" Menendez not only shattered their family, but also captured the collective attention of the nation during the highly publicized trials that followed in the 1990s. These trials, televised live, fueled a media frenzy and resulted in both brothers being sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Now, as the Los Angeles District Attorney moves to recommend a resentencing that could offer them a slim chance at parole, 50 years to life, the Menendez brothers face a new chapter in their troubled lives, with their first real opportunity for freedom in decades. The petition was filed on October 24th, and the case may go before a judge as soon as next month, raising both hope and skepticism about their fate. In Monsters, Murphy focuses on aspects of abuse that Lyle and Eric have long claimed they suffered under their father's hand. Abuse that they say drove them to take such extreme and irreversible action. However, Murphy's portrayal has not been without controversy. The showrunner's creative liberties have sparked fierce criticism from the brothers and their family, who feel misrepresented. "I believe Ryan Murphy cannot be this naive and inaccurate about the facts of our lives so as to do this without bad intent," Eric stated in a statement shared by his wife Tammy. "It is sad for me to know that Netflix's dishonest portrayal of the tragedies surrounding our crime have taken the painful truth several steps backward, back through time to an era when the prosecution built a narrative on a belief system that males were not sexually abused and that males experienced rape trauma differently than women." In response, the brothers have also shared their side of the story in the recent documentary The Menendez Brothers, which arrived on Netflix on October 7, 2023. But the questions surrounding the real story of the Menendez brothers' crimes, motivations, and suffering still remain clouded by uncertainty, leaving audiences to grapple with a mixture of conflicting testimonies, perspectives, and deeply entrenched emotions. The Menendez family, behind the mask of the American dream. Jose Menendez was a Cuban immigrant, arriving in the United States following the Cuban Revolution in the 1950s. His rise in America was nothing short of remarkable. After earning an accounting degree from Queens College, he worked his way up the corporate ladder, becoming an executive at Hertz and later RCA Records. His wife, Mary Louise "Kitty" Anderson, came from a wealthy New Jersey family, and together they had 2 sons, Lyle in 1968 and Eric in 1970. The family's journey from New York to New Jersey eventually led them to an opulent home in Beverly Hills, a seemingly perfect picture of American success. However, behind the luxury and wealth lay a darker story that would forever alter their lives. Lyle and Eric have maintained that their father, Jose, began sexually abusing Lyle when he was just 6 years old. They claim that Eric suffered similar abuse starting when he was 6 as well. Their cousin, Diane van der Molen, who spent summers with the Menendez family, has corroborated their accounts of sexual abuse, recalling a disturbing conversation with Lyle when he was 8 years old. "Lyle came in while I was changing the sheets," Diane recalled in a 2017 interview. "He became very serious about asking me if he could sleep in the other bed next to mine, saying that he was afraid to sleep in his own bed because his father and he had been touching each other, indicating his genital area." Despite the horror of this confession, when Diane told Kitty about the abuse, she was met with disbelief. "By her demeanor, I could tell she wasn't believing it," Diane said. "She just yanked Lyle back upstairs and that was the end of it. I never heard anything more about it." Diane's painful recollection is a reminder of the silencing of children's cries for help and the toxic environment that was allowed to thrive in the Menendez home. The fatal night. a crime born of fear. On the night of August 20th, 1989, Lyle and Eric, both deeply scarred and fearful for their lives, shot their parents multiple times in the den of their Beverly Hills mansion. The shootings were vicious and calculated. Jose was shot at point-blank range, while Kitty was gunned down as she tried to flee. The brothers later explained that the murder was preceded by an argument with their parents, one that escalated into a confrontation. "I was in the foyer," Eric recalled in the 2017 docuseries The Menendez Murders, Eric Tells All. "Lyle was coming out of the den, and my mum was following him saying, 'You're not going out.' Lyle said, 'Why?' And she said, 'Because I said so.' And then my dad came out and told my mom to shut up. He looked at Lyle and said, 'You're not going out,' and told me to go to my room." Both brothers remembered the tension, with Lyle vowing that he wouldn't let his father harm Eric. "I was saying, 'You're not going to touch my brother,'" Lyle recalled. The anger boiled over when Jose allegedly said, "I do what I want in my family. He's not your little brother, he's my son." The final straw came when Lyle believed his parents were preparing to carry out their long-suspected threat, that they would kill the brothers, leaving them no way out. Desperate, Lyle rushed to Eric, telling him, "It's happening now." The fear, the anxiety, the terror, they had been building for years, and in that moment, the brothers snapped. The aftermath, lavish spending, and the ultimate betrayal. After the murders, Lyle and Eric did what many would consider bizarre for those who had just committed such a horrific act. They went to see a movie. Both brothers watched Batman in the theater before returning home and calling 911 to report the killings, pretending to be shocked by the discovery of their parents' bodies. But their lavish spending soon raised suspicions. Over the next 6 months, Lyle bought multiple Rolex watches. Eric hired a $60 a year tennis coach, and together they spent over $1 million, squandering their late parents' fortune. It seemed almost as though they had no remorse, no fear of the consequences. However, the guilt began to eat away at Eric. In therapy, he confessed to his psychologist, Jerome Oziel, admitting the murders. Oziel's mistress, Judalyn Smith, became the key to unraveling the Menendez brothers' carefully constructed story when she took the information to the police. 6 months later, the brothers were arrested. The trials and public perception. The Menendez brothers' trials became a cultural phenomenon, with millions of Americans tuning in to witness the drama unfold on court TV. Their defense team, led by Leslie Abramson, argued that Lyle and Eric were driven to kill their parents out of a belief that their lives were at risk due to years of emotional and sexual abuse. Family members, including Diane Vandermolen and others, supported their claims, shedding light on the horrific family dynamics. Yet, as with many high-profile criminal cases, skepticism and disbelief clouded the brothers' narrative. Prosecutors and many in the public dismissed the allegations of abuse, suggesting that the brothers had fabricated the story in an effort to avoid the death penalty. Pam Bozanic, a prosecutor on the first trial, expressed her belief that the brothers' claims were false. The only way that they could go to trial and have any hope of not getting the death penalty was to make up an abuse excuse, she told People in 2017. Despite the emotional testimony, the second trial resulted in the conviction of both brothers for first-degree murder and conspiracy to murder, and they were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Life behind bars. The brothers' continued struggle. Today, Lyle and Eric continue to serve their life sentences in separate facilities. However, after decades of being apart, they were finally reunited in 2018, a tearful moment that reminded them both of the bond they still share despite everything they have endured. Their case remains a point of deep division, even within their own family. Eric and Lyle's relatives have voiced strong support for their release, stating that they stand by them, knowing the painful truth of their upbringing and the trauma they experienced. "We love them," said Joan Vandermolen, Kitty's sister, in a statement. "We know them, and we want them home with us." But the controversy surrounding their story and the portrayal of their lives in media like monsters continues to spark anger and pain. Both brothers remain deeply affected by the misrepresentation of their past and the continued speculation about their true motivations. In their own words, they want to be remembered not just as criminals, but as victims of an unimaginable family tragedy, one that, to this day, remains as enigmatic and painful as ever. If you found this story compelling and want to dive deeper into true crime stories, real-life mysteries, and everything in between, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update from my channel. Your support means the world and helps me bring more captivating content straight to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.